All right, we are going to now um, add the motor holder, which you should have already designed, and the motor to the base and the axle holder pieces. Before we do, I'm going to recommend you do something right here. I'm going to recommend that you click on this little cube and hit isometric. And if this is what your screen looks like, here's what I would do. I'd click on front, I would tap on the base, and I'd rotate it 90 degrees. I'm going to type in 90 and hit enter, and then I'm going to tap in the white space. Then I would fold this down. So I'm going to look at this again from isometric perspective. I'm going to tap on it, and I'm going to use this arrow to fold it flat, 90 degrees, and then click once in the white space. And now I'm kind of looking at the car from the perspective that's a little more natural than if it were upright. At this point, I would come over here under the car assembly, find the base, which is going to be highlighted in orange when you hover over it, right click and select fix. And what that's going to do is lock the base into position so it cannot be moved, right? If it's unfixed, I can move it. If I right click and fix it, I cannot move it, and that's good. And then the only parts that can move are the ones that we're going to add to it, like the motor holder, which has to slide back and forth. So again, you should have a motor holder complete with 3 planer mates or 1 fasten mate, so those 2 pieces are stuck together. And we're going to insert this into the car assembly along with the motor. I'm going to show you what our goal is today. I'm going to turn on the motor holder and turn on my motor, and then I'm going to go to my slider mate and hit animate, and I'm going to change this setting right here and press play so you can see what we're trying to do, right? We're trying to show the motion of the motor as it slides back and forth along our base. Okay, so I'm going to start over. So I'm going to delete my motor holder from my assembly. Sorry, I'm just going to left click on it and press delete on my keyboard. Same thing with the motor, using delete on the keyboard. And I'm going to start over. So here we go. Step number 1 is to insert the motor holder. So now I'm choosing between parts and assemblies. I want to choose assemblies, and then I should have motor holder down there. And there it is. And I can place it wherever I want with a single left click. Hit the green check mark. Now, as you can see, the orientation is incorrect. This hole should match up with this slot right here. That's for the screw. I need to rotate this piece. So I'm going to tap on it, and yours might look different than mine. By the way, right now it's called panning. I'm holding the scroll wheel down like a button. And then I'm going to flip it down 90 degrees. So I'm going to rotate this thing exactly 90. I'm typing it in. And then I'm going to click once and look at it. And now I need to flip it around because the screw is supposed to be in the back. So I'm going to click and I'm going to rotate so that my screw is on the back side like that. So make that 90 exactly and then click once. Okay, now it looks like it's facing the right direction. I'm going to go to the right view and I'm going to move it over. I'm just going to drag it. And then I'm going to go back to notice I'm clicking on the upper left hand corner of the navigation cube. And then I'm going to go to the front view and just get it close. Okay, let's go back and look at it. Good. So I'm actually going to look at it from the top view to see if things are lining up. And I really want this tab to be along this slot. Let me look a different perspective. I'm going to go to the left view, the front of the car, and tilt it down a tiny bit. Right now my hand is holding down the right button of the mouse. And I'm going to click on this piece and move it over just a tiny bit. There we go. And basically what I'm trying to do is make sure this little piece is going to fit into the slot. And it looks like it's lined up. Now, by now you've also watched the slider mate video. What I'm trying to do is identify two edges that are going to travel side by side. And I'm going to actually, in order to identify that better, I'm going to click on this piece and I'm going to bring it down so it's pretty much, I'm going to zoom in so I can be a little more precise, pretty much exactly where it needs to be. And then I'm going to try to identify two edges that travel the exact path side by side. Now, your tab might stick out further than the one in this video, so it might be a little trickier than mine, but we can still make some adjustments. But what I want to show you from this perspective right here is that this edge that I'm highlighting from the bottom piece travels along the same as the bottom edge of this piece on the right side right here. So those two, I'm going to align them. I'm actually going to start them off. I'll click on the piece and drag it up a little bit so they're actually corner to corner. So this is kind of like my starting point that I want to focus on. So let's see if I can use the slider mate tool. I'm going to click on this piece, drag it over a tiny bit so I can see both lines. I'm going to hit escape a couple times on my computer. It's not working. I'm going to click in the white space. Okay, so here we go. Slider mate. And now I need two mate connectors. I'm going to focus on this edge right here, but I want to get the end of it right there, the corner. Click. Then I go to this edge. Okay, I might have to zoom so it knows what I'm focusing on, or I might even have to drag the piece. Let's see. I want this edge. This is really tricky. You know what? I'm going to start over so it's easier for you to see what I'm doing. I'm going to take this piece and move it down. What I'm doing is having the piece stick out just a tiny bit so it's easier to identify the edges that are going to travel together. Okay, so now I'm going to zoom back in. I'm going to click slider mate, and I want this edge at the end. Click. And then I want this edge at the end. Click. And then I'm going to hit, oh, it didn't let me do both. So I selected one but not the other. So I'm going to go back. Now it's selected both. I hit the check mark, and it looks like it brought them together. So let's test it out. Let's drag. I'm going to turn off this slider function because it thinks I want another slider. And I'm just going to drag this piece and see if it moves along. Oh, the computer's really slow. Let's zoom out. You can test it from this perspective. But if the slider mate is functioning properly, the motor holder should be able to slide back and forth. And it can. Good. But I do want to set some limits on how far it can go. This is like the original position. We'll call that 0. I'm going to right click, edit, and set some limits. My minimum will be 0, and let's test out a maximum of 1 and see what happens when we press play. Okay, that's 1 inch to the right. Maybe physically it can go a little bit more. Let's try 1.25. I'll hit the check mark, and then we can test it out. We can kind of watch it from the bottom and see what happens as it slides. I'll right click, and I can hit animate. I'm going to change the steps to 100 so it slides a little faster, and then press play. And that's pretty close. It looks like it's a little bit more than 1.25 or 1.25 inches to slide the full distance. All right, we kind of look at it from the other perspective. Looks like it can still go a little further. The screw hasn't hit the edge. So we can figure out exactly what this number needs to be, but that's the main idea.